Hello, welcome to episode 24 of the We Were Athletes podcast. I'm Cody, and I'm here with Julian again, and we're going to talk some hockey. Um, so, right off the bat, we are 1 week into the hockey season, and there's already been some big news, some big signings, a big injury, and some history made. So, we're going to get to that, and we're going to see where we think these teams stand now, and if those hot streaks or cold streaks are going to stick, and how we see the rest of this next few weeks to month of this season going. So let's start it out with the big news. We had three huge signings. Um, we've got Kyle Connor, Jack Eichel, and Lane Hudson all signing 8-year deals. Which one you want to talk about first, Julian?
Kyle Connor because it affects my team the most.
All right, so Kyle Connor signed a 8-year, $96 million deal, which comes out to 12 annually. So, do you like it? You think it's too much, too little?
I
You
think
said it affects our team, so how you feeling about it?
um, I think personally for like the Jets organization, that's a huge signing. I mean, you've seen Kaprizov; he just got 17, and Kyle Connor, I wouldn't say is the same as Kaprizov, but he's a hell of a player. And getting him at 12 for 8 years, I think, is a steal because the cap's just going to keep going up, and the most of that Jets team is now signed long term. Like the core pieces of that team are there for a long time at pretty good deals. So I think that deal is going to work out pretty well there.
Yeah, we saw him 2 years ago. Signed Shifley to the big deal.
Yep.
Signed Hellebuck to the big deal. I believe they were matching like 8 by 8.5 or something.
Yeah.
And now you've got your goal scorer Kyle Connor locked in for that 8-year deal. You've got a good core there. You've got a couple of pieces on the D that I really like, and so it's looking good for that core, and it's what can they build around it. We saw them win the President's Trophy last year, so we know they're a good team. And when Connor Hellebuck is in the regular season, he might be the best goalie out there. So playoffs a different story, but he's darn good. And like you said, as Blues fans here, we don't like that because Kyle Connor likes to tear us apart.
Yes.
Um, it was a little interesting because I didn't know what they were gonna do when they let oh my gosh, I
Steelers.
can picture Ehlers walk. Didn't give him the money, but now we know why they were saving the big contract. And like you said, 12 and 2 3 years is going to look
I mean,
like a $9 million deal right now, especially when you're going to start seeing these 13, 15, $16 million deals getting signed when players start hitting free agency. It's going to be insane. So I like the deal for Winnipeg. I don't like the deal for the rest of the Central. Um, it seems like every team is just loading up right now with big contracts.
yeah.
So the best division is going to stay the best division, it seems like. I think we got to go to the biggest one that people were kind of wondering if it was going to get done during the season or if him and his agent were going to take it to free agency and try and up the price even more. And it was going to be the number one player on the market, and that's Jack Eichel.
Yep.
He's staying in Vegas. He got 8 years, 108, which puts him at 13 and a half average.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I think this is a killer deal for Vegas.
I think so too. And now getting Marner, it's kind of like another Matthews Marner thing in Toronto. But I think Eichel's more of a complete player than Matthews. Um, I also feel like he can perform in the playoffs, as we've seen. They've won a cup, so hopefully Marner can help him in the playoffs. We've had that story. He can't do it, but I think just the Eichel deal in Vegas, everything seems to be working well there. The Petrangelo out, I think, is honestly a good thing too. I think he might be done. Get that cap off there because he did have a hefty contract for what he was producing. But the Golden Knights just need that goalie, and I think they're going to be a very, very scary team out there in the West.
Yeah, I think I don't remember if I picked them or not, but this is who I think is going to win the Presidents, and I think they're probably the favorite out of the West and maybe the favorite in the NHL. This team is deep, and it really does come down to can the back end hold up in goal for them or not. But you look at somebody like Kaprizov getting 17, and then you see Jack Eichel getting 3.5 less per year, and at center, at that the most premium position outside of goalie, like That looks amazing to me. I think they saved way more money. I expected him to get at least 15 mil
Yeah,
with the way the market's going. So, I think there was a lot of mutual interest there. I think Eichel loves it in Vegas and wanted to stay, and so he was kind of willing to take a little bit of a hit to make a better team around him. So, this Vegas team is scary, and I fully expect them to be scary for a while. I don't know about you, but I think they're going to run that division for
yeah,
a lot of years to come.
oh yeah.
And then lastly, Lane Hudson, 1 year into his NHL career, wins the Calder last year and gets a 8 year, $70.8 million contract, which comes out to about $8.5 million. How do you feel about this one?
I think that's an awesome deal for them, especially with the term. I thought he was going to get a bridge deal, maybe 3 years, because you see that a lot with rookies, and maybe they take like something like $5 to $8 million for that, and then they come back either way higher or they didn't, and it didn't pay off. So I think that for them and just what we've seen out of one season, that's an outstanding contract, and I think with that team and what they have in the future, locking him up at that price is an absolute steal.
Yeah, you got to wonder if they're looking at it and going, man, we're gonna get these young kids all locked up on a
Right.
decent contract, and we'll talk about it 8, 9, 10 years from now, of how we might be screwed when they all need contracts
Yeah,
next time. But you get a Calder Trophy winning player for under $9 million, and I really do feel like this is because they're buying out all of his RFA years.
yep,
So instead of going into arbitration, making a mil, 2 mil, three, five at the most by the end of it, they're eating all of that and just giving him eight up front to save on the back end. Because I think if you give him a bridge deal, he's going to come out of it looking for that $15 million range.
100%.
He is elite on the back end with his offensive game. I still want to see a little more out of him defensively, but this kid's electric on the back end.
I think now that's one of
All
the
right,
best
so
defenseman contracts in the NHL, honestly. From what
oh,
he's
for
doing now,
sure. Yeah,
that's a steal. That's a
for
steal.
sure. Yeah, just thinking about what he did versus what like Bouchard and them
Oh
did,
yeah.
and them getting over $2 million more. Yeah, I would much rather have Lane Hudson.
Oh yeah.
Um, he'll learn it. He's good. I see him as kind of a Quinn Hughes type guy, so
Yeah.
even more offensive though. So yeah, the Montreal fans are loving that. Um, Speaking of rookies, one of the favorites for the Calder, maybe less so because he's not a forward. Uh, Mr. Schaefer gets his first goal in the NHL. We've seen five rookies, I believe, from the 2025 draft get a taste of the NHL this season. One of them was already sent back after 3 games, but Matthew Schaefer's still here, and he looks like he's here to stay. So good for him. Congrats on the first one. I'm sorry your team sucks, but good for you. I think the Islanders are in for a long season.
Yeah. He's the bright spot on that team.
He very much is. I really hope they start playing those young kids and just
Oh yeah.
let them grow because there's a lot of talent there, and their offense is so bad.
So bad.
I mean, I guess their defense isn't much better.
Has Sorokin been playing well? I haven't watched
I
the
didn't
Rangers
I
games.
didn't see what he was doing this year, but usually Sorokin's pretty decent. But when your team's that bad, it's
Yeah.
it's tough. Let's quick glance. He is not. He's got a 4.18 and an 8.54.
Yeah, that's bad.
Those are not starter numbers you want to see. So yeah, not having a great year, but he might be hung out left to dry.
Yeah.
I haven't got to catch a game. I've just seen a couple of clips of them this year. Um, Speaking of bad, we had NHL history set, and it wasn't for a good reason. The New York Rangers are the first team in NHL history for their first 3 home games to be shut out. How bad does that look if you're a New York fan, especially when you just hired Mike Sullivan to kind of turn things around?
I think that it's a bad look. The away games look better, but when you get home, you're in front of your home audience, your home fans, and you can't even give them a goal in 3 games. And some of the Capitals game was 1-0. That's a boring game to be at one. but you're winning, or you're playing the Penguins, who are touted to be one of the worst teams in the league this year, and I think it was 3-0 in their home opener,
Yeah,
and
and
that's a rough look.
yeah, and it wasn't like they looked good and there was just bad breaks
Yeah,
in that game. Pittsburgh kind of dominated that game for the most part. It was pretty rough. So yeah, it's not a good look there for the Rangers. Luckily, they got away from MSG and got a couple of wins
yep,
under their belt. I believe they had to shut out of their own,
yep.
um, but they weren't playing anyone super great. So a little bit of concern there in New York. We'll get to them in a little bit. But then the last big news is very unfortunate news up north. Brady Kachuk is out for at least 4 weeks. Um, what's Ottawa going to do?
That's a huge hit to their team. I think he's their captain. I could be wrong, but
He is.
yeah, that's the guy. He's literally like Matthew Tkachuk. I'd say he's a little less on the skilled end, but he's a guy like you have to have on your team if you're the Senators. He brings the energy, he brings the hits, he brings the offense, he plays his defense. He does everything perfect, or not perfectly. He does everything well, and he's a big part of that team. And he takes some of the offensive pressure off of Stützle, being able to open up and make his own space, and then having Stützle play off of him. So I think that's a big loss, and I think they'll have a slower start to the season than they anticipated.
Yeah. And when we say 4 weeks, it's at least
Yeah,
4 weeks.
yeah,
A lot of the reports are 4 plus. By the sounds of it, it's a broken wrist hand. So honestly, you're probably looking more like 6 weeks
yeah.
for that bone to heal and to be able to grip the stick. I didn't see which hand it was, but um, either way, that bottom hand's producing the power, but that top hand, if you can't hold the top of your stick, you don't get that mobility to deke to put anything on those passes. It's not a fun position to be in. I broke my hand and had to wear a cast, and it was my top hand, and all I could do was like keep it lodged to my body to
Yeah.
try and play with it, and you can't do a lot. So, like you said, it's the captain. He's a big voice in that room. He's a very skilled player. He's gritty. He hard nosed. He brings the game to everybody. He's gonna get under your skin.
Yep.
He's just like his brother, but just a little less skilled. I agree with you. And that's an irreplaceable player.
Yep.
I think they're getting Drake Batherson back in their lineup, so that'll be helpful to them. But
He's no Brady Kachuk.
that's yeah, that's there's you just can't replace a Brady Kachuk. Like you look at that Florida Panthers team, and then you look at what happened when they brought in Matthew. They shipped out a 100-point player and their best defenseman, and they bring in Matthew, and instantly they start winning cups because
Yep.
of that culture change. And that's something that you know the box score you can't quantify.
Yep.
But he's a massive piece for that. So I expect Ottawa to take a hit here. They've got a lot of young, skilled guys, but we talked about it last week. If you can't get out to a semi-quick start, um, you
Right.
can't you can't make yourself into the playoffs the first few weeks, first month or two, but you can sure bury yourself.
Yep.
Um, so with that, those are our big newses of the week. We are in week one. We are full week in at this point. Every team's played at least two, and some teams up to 5 games already.
Yep.
Um, any surprises for you of teams that are either
Um,
overachieving or underachieving so far?
well, the Kraken did just lose an OT, but the Kraken, I think they're 3-0-1 now, if I'm correct, or 2-0-1, one of the two. Um,
Yeah,
did not expect that out of them. They have no real, I would say, X factor on their team. They have Matty Beniers, who's a great player. I like him a lot, but is he really that player on your team who can win you by himself, can win you a game? And they have Shane Wright, who I don't think is ever gonna pan out to what he was touted to be, but he's a nice player. And on the D end, it's just it's a lot of all right defensemen. There's a Vince Dunn, there's a Brandon Montour, but is it really like a you don't have like a Lane Hudson that we were just talking about, or like an Aaron Ekblad, someone like that who's like a big defensive force there, who you can count on every single game to make the right plays. So I'm surprised they have been started out as well as they have. I don't think they'll be the worst team in that division, but I also don't think they are all that. Um,
yeah.
another surprise. I'm trying to think here. They had a slow start. I'm blanking on it. Oh, the Kings. The Kings. They had a lot of games really fast, but you would expect them to play well or win at least two of those, and I think they're 2-1, if I'm not mistaken.
1-2-1, yeah.
1-2-1, yep. And that's not what you expect out of the guys. At least I predicted them to be second or third in that division. And
Yeah.
they have a lot of pieces there, a lot of older guys, a lot of younger guys, and I think that's a team that can win a cup. I'm not saying they will, but that's the type of mix you need on your team to win a cup. You need some veteran guys who've done it before and younger guys who are ready to take their energy and win that cup for them. And I'm surprised they've started out the way they have.
Yeah, and
I mean, they haven't had
they've
easy
got one.
games, but
Yeah, and they're like the fourth lowest in goal differential. They're
yeah,
a -4 already through 4 games, and they just they don't look good. They look kind of slow. They don't look like a cohesive unit,
yeah.
um,
And that comes
which
from
is kind of shocking because there's not a lot of change. Maybe a little bit on the back end, but not like bringing new pieces in. It's more of just we're promoting the younger guys and giving them an opportunity. Um, so I agree. The Kings were a little shocking to me. How you feel about San Jose over there? 0-2.
Honestly, the young guys have looked good, but once again, we talked about it last week. That defense is that's not it. The goaltending's not it. It's scary. It's you have your pieces that you
Yeah,
can see what the future is going to hold, but it's not there yet. It's
it's rough to go 2 games and score 9 goals and not have a win.
yeah,
You're averaging 4.5 goals a game and haven't gotten a win yet. That's a little concerning. But you can't give up 11 goals in 2 games. But it's exactly what we thought. Like we thought the offense was going to be fine and they were going to be a lot of fun to watch, but
the
we
defense
thought that defense was going to struggle hard, and that defense has struggled hard.
struggled hard. What is it? Nick Leddy, Klingberg's out there, I think. Mario Ferraro's still there.
I believe so.
Yeah,
He should be like their best defenseman,
yeah.
sadly.
That's
Exactly. Um,
and
who else is here? Like
Nedeljkovic.
that's how bad it is. I can't even come up with names.
Has Asplund
Um,
started a game for the Sharks?
I gotta look. They've got Dmitry
I've seen
Orlov,
them.
Shakir Mukhamadullin,
Okay.
Timothy Liljegren, Nick Leddy, John Klingberg, Mario Ferrari, Ryan Ellis. Has Sam Dickinson played?
I don't think so. He might be. They
And
might have
then
come
they
up. I don't really watch the Sharks, but I haven't seen any clips of him, and I'm kind of
it's
high
hard to
on
watch
his
them when
future.
their games start at
Yeah.
9:30 every night.
I was wondering about
Uh,
Askarov. He is the starting goalie there, at least to the website I just looked at. But I saw some pretty terrible clips of Nedeljkovic.
Oh, he's not good. He had that one really good year, and he thought he was going to be
Yep.
something, and then struggle bus ever since. I love looking at their roster and seeing Carey Price listed as
Yep.
one of their
Carey
goalies.
Price in there. Did they just trade for Ryan Ellis too?
Yes, they
Who
have his
hasn't
contract
played
as
in
well.
forever too?
Yeah. Uh, hey, you're hitting that cap floor with those terrible contracts and not paying real dollars. I mean, there's those guys that they've played for 17 teams but never suited up for 8 of them. Like
Yeah.
that was the Chris Pronger contract for a while. That
Yep.
was
I think Marian
Shea
Hosie's not even
Weber.
paid by Utah or the
Probably.
Blackhawks. He was on
Yeah,
the Coyotes are paying him for a long time.
a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Islanders are paying
Um,
DiPietro.
oh my gosh, yeah, that was the worst contract ever given out. That contract is the reason we had 8-year deals,
Yep.
because they gave him the 13-year deal, and they're like, yeah, we're not doing that again. Um, Speaking of the Islanders and DiPietro, they are 0-3, and they are a -6. There is only one team that is worse than that, who is also 0-3 and has a -8 goal differential. And we already talked about the Islanders; they're just not good anywhere right now. But there is a team that's worse, and that's the
Buffalo.
Buffalo Sabres.
Who could have
Who could
expected?
have guessed that?
I mean,
Here, let's just put it in perspective for anyone listening who doesn't watch the Eastern Conference games. Buffalo's played 3 games, and in game 2, there were already fans throwing Buffalo jerseys on the ice at their home games. The bags over the head were out game 1.
yep.
Um, I don't know what the answer is here. What is Buffalo going to do? Like, what is it going to take for them to not be the laughing stock of the NHL?
Move the franchise. Move it. It's been that way for
You
too long. They've had great players there. A lot of them have left their team and in the next 2 years won a cup. You've got Eichel, you've got Reinhardt, you've got O'Reilly, you've got guys who you've had great players. They still have great players. Darlene Power, Thompson, or not Thompson. Blanking on his name. Blues.
okay, yeah,
Tage Thompson. Yeah, Tage Thompson.
Tage.
Yep. Who else? They just got rid of
They just got rid of Paterka.
Katurka. Yeah, they've had great players there. They just can't seem as an internal organization to keep their star players happy and keep them there and build a winning team at least to make the playoffs around them while they've been there. And they've had great players there for at least the past 8 years. They've had Eichel. They've had all those guys. It doesn't seem to work there at all, and I don't know what it is. The fans hate it. I'm sure the players hate it too. Before the season, they're always projected to miss the playoffs just because of how it's been. I think it's been, what is it, 14, 15 years since they've made the playoffs? Probably longer than that now.
Oh gosh, I can't even remember.
But there's
Um,
no winning culture in that organization, I don't think. And I think, in my opinion, that's a franchise that just has to go for it to turn it around.
2010, 2011. So
Yeah,
yeah, 14, 15 years
14
ago.
years, yeah.
That's
That's a long
terrible.
time with no playoffs.
Um, Here's the problem. Terry Bagula is in charge, and he doesn't know what he's doing.
Mm.
Um, he didn't conduct a general manager search when he hired a coach. I'm like, the Sabres are already chanting to fire, um, oh, what's his name? Adams. Um, Already trying to fire the coach 3 games into the season. It's just a nightmare. Like, Tage Thompson is already talking about wanting out.
Yep.
Um, it's just nothing's going right in there. So, do you think? I guess the question is, do you think the NHL would move them?
Um, are they profitable? I think yes, they might be profitable still. They're not making the playoffs, so they don't have that extra profit. But you look at their games; they still have fans. They have a great fan base there in Buffalo. But like, if I'm a Buffalo fan, if it took them moving somewhere else to maybe make the playoffs, have a winning team once, I'd be fine with it. I don't know if the NHL would, just because they've been there for a decent amount of time now. And they've had great teams before the 2000s. They've made playoffs. I think they went to a cup final. I think they lost it, but um, it's like, do they move them is a hard question. I'm not very versed on how the NHL feels about Buffalo, but I really do think
Yeah,
it wouldn't be a terrible idea to look at.
yeah, and that's my problem is looking at how NHL has dealt with teams in the past. I mean, the last teams to get moved outside of what this last year, or 2 years ago, with Arizona finally getting moved. That was Gary Bettman's baby, though. Like, he tried everything in his power to keep Phoenix, Arizona in Phoenix and Arizona. Um, and that lasted way longer than it should have because they weren't making money. You can't put an NHL team in a 5,500 capacity arena and
Yeah,
expect anything good to happen there.
yeah,
That had to happen, and that's the only reason it happened. But outside of that, you got to go back to like the Atlanta Thrashers,
yep.
um,
They moved twice.
and yeah, and they're still talking about Atlanta possibly being the next expansion, which
Hmm.
I don't understand. Like, you failed twice. What are we doing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, but I just don't know if the NHL would be willing to move them. Um, but I think they need to sell them.
Yeah,
I think
well,
that's where it has to start. Is Terry Pagula has to sell them. Um, I think they're the 30 most profitable team in the NHL out of 32.
yeah,
So they're still making over $150 million a year.
yeah.
Um, so there's money being made, um, but it's worth $1.1 billion according to Forbes. So, like,
I would.
I don't get it because Terry Bagula also owns the Bills, and
Yeah,
that franchise.
is doing great.
I mean,
I mean, they
it
haven't.
wasn't though until Josh Allen came
Yeah,
around, and
that's
that's the
true.
thing. It's like, does he just not know how to run an organization? And it doesn't seem like he does. Like, he's somebody that they need to like step in and be like, you are hiring this person to help you run this, and you're not going to do it yourself because you have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah,
Um, and to me, the Buffalo Sabres are the equivalent to the Cleveland Browns in football. Like
Yep.
they're the laughing stock. It just hasn't been good in a long time. Every once in a while, you get a lucky bright spot, and then you ruin everything and trade away everyone.
Hmm.
Um, it's just bad. Like you said, they've got a lot of good young talent, and they've already started trading it away. They're going to ruin these guys' careers, or they're going to walk the second they get a chance to, and that's the sad thing for the Sabres fan because they are very loyal fans.
Okay.
Um, every time I see a Buffalo game, the stands are packed, even though they suck, and they have for years. So I don't know what the answer is, but gosh, I feel for Buffalo fans. They've got some. I love that they went back to the old sick unis with
Yep.
the buffalo with the sword. Like they've got such cool uniforms and stuff. You just want it to be good, but they're not. Yeah, I don't see them selling, but I think ownership needs to, or I don't see them moving. I think ownership needs to sell. I
Yeah.
don't know that you can force Terry Pagula to do that though. Um, let's go to the bright spots. Some shocking hot starts, and let's see if we think those can hold, or if we think it's just a lucky start. And the first one that I've got is the Boston Bruins. They're 3-1, and we both picked them to be bottom or almost the bottom of that
Yeah.
division.
I think it's a lucky start there. Swayman's looked pretty decent. Like that was something I talked about. He's looked bad for the past 2 years. So if he can turn it around, maybe they can. I don't know. Squeak into the playoffs. That division is hard. That I don't think if he plays well, they could maybe get higher in those standings. But just that team, there's no depth there. If say I don't want to wish it on him, but say Pasternak gets hurt.
Oh, they're
Who's
down.
your? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? And I'm sure he's gonna miss some games. He gets hurt a few times. He's never had like a major injury in my that I can remember, but I don't want to wish that on him. But if say that does
Yeah,
happen, what happens? And say maybe he hits a cold streak. Who's scoring the goals? Who's dishing the offense? What's going on there? So I don't think that's sustainable with what they have on their team. It's old, it's slow, and I just don't foresee an 82 game season then be able to keep up with some of these younger, faster teams.
yeah, it really does come down to Swayman playing lights out. Like that last year, him and Olmark were together, where
Yeah,
it was a battle of who are they keeping.
exactly. I think they kept the wrong one in my
If he
opinion.
doesn't, yeah, I agree. I think they should have kept Omar. Um, I think that's a team that unless he stands on his head, they don't really have a chance of winning. Um, and we talked about it either the first or second episode. As much as it sucks, like that team needs to go through a rebuild. It's too old. It's too slow. You're hanging on to Pasta to have star power, but
It's not
what's
enough.
the use of star power when they're that bad?
Yeah.
So for his sake and for to kickstart the rebuild, I think they need to move him. I don't think they will, but I think it would
Well,
be good for him.
I think last year was the
Um,
first time they've missed the
yeah,
playoffs in my lifetime.
yeah, and it was not even close. Let's see who else has had a great start that we are a little shocked by. Oh, the Nashville Predators, 2-1-1.
Yeah.
Second in the Central. They went from bottom feeders after they won the off season and signed everybody and their brother and
Yeah.
just looked like a dumpster fire. They're coming out hot right now. What do you make of Nashville?
Um, I'm looking at their stats tonight. I'm pretty sure they lost in a pretty goal-heavy game tonight to the Maple Leafs. I think it was like 7-4, 7-5, something like that. I was trying to see who was in
Yeah,
goal
it's
real quick.
7-4.
Does it say who was in goal? I'm still getting it pulled up. Because if it was someone, my point differs. It was not who I wanted it to be, but I was gonna say is Saros gonna bounce back? It was not him in net tonight, but Saros
Why
last
are
year.
you?
Hmm?
I don't understand. You're playing freaking Toronto,
Yeah, and
and you're not starting your starting
yeah,
goalie.
you just gave an 8 year deal. I think it was somewhere around $8 or $9 million for. I'd never
Yeah,
liked the big goalie contracts, but um, that team's old, very old. They don't have a very deep prospect pool whatsoever. They have a few guys that are all right, but there's even if say they do make the playoffs somehow, there's no future there. They kind of need to be bad so they can be good in the future. They need a good pick. They need a better chance of one of their prospects turning out. But it just Yossi's he's always been good. That's a bright spot always. But Stamkos, I don't think he has it anymore. O'Reilly's really old. As much as I love him back on the Blues, but he'll
Hey,
always bring you that
easy,
face off that you
easy.
need.
O'Reilly's like a month older than
But it's one of those teams where it's I don't foresee that again. I don't think that's gonna sustain with
Yeah,
these guys who are older.
it's really weird. It's a really weird lineup. Um, because you see a lot of those old vets, and even like Philip Forsberg
Yeah,
is 31. Like he's getting starting to get up there. But you're looking Eric Holla, Jonathan Marchessault, Roman Yossi, Philip Forsberg, Ryan O'Reilly, even Bunting's like
yeah.
29. Um,
And I never understood
Stamkos,
the Marchessault stuff.
Shea,
You had your
but
Forsberg
then
and you had your Duchesne, and you let Duchesne walk.
yeah,
Why did you need another
yeah,
young
and
winger
he
to
was on a
score goals?
sweetheart deal. But then you've got a weird mix because you've got Fedor Svechkov, Justin Barron, uh, uh, Joachim Kemmel or Kemal, however you say his
Yeah.
name, and Brady Martin, who was their fifth overall pick this last year,
Hmm.
and Ozzy Weisblatt, are all starting on this roster. So like you've got the extreme old and the extreme young, and the sad thing is those guys that I just named of the young guys are their only
Yep.
prospects. Like they don't have anything outside of them. So what they've got on this roster is all the reinforcements they have
Yeah.
coming.
So you don't see
So
a a big clear direction of what they're shooting for. There's not a it's a retool, it's a rebuild. They just kind of added old guys and tried to
yeah.
push everything to go win a cup.
Oh, they 100%
Yeah.
were like, hey, we're gonna buy everyone and we're gonna be the team to
Yeah.
beat this year, and we're
And
gonna
in
try and steal a cup in the
yeah.
next couple years.
And in past years, they've looked very scary. They'll go out there and dominate games for weeks on end, and then comes the next year,
Yeah,
or last year at this point. And they added more guys that they I don't in my opinion don't think they needed very much for what they were working with, and they got rid of guys they probably should have kept. I mean, Duchesne on the Stars, what a steal of a contract. I think he's on 4 million a year.
oh, he took a
Yeah,
sweetheart deal.
and the Predators, I don't see a clear
Yeah.
direction there, and I don't think
No,
with
and
what
looking at it like, and I missed Luke Evangelisto, who I believe they just signed to like a 2 year, $6 million deal or
okay,
something. But looking at these young guys, um, Weisblatt, Evangelista, Brady Martin, Kemmel, Svechkov. Outside of Kemmel, I and maybe Evangelista to a little bit. Like it feels like they're trying to build an old school, gritty, hard
yeah,
nosed team that's just going to play a good 200-foot hockey, and then hope that like Kemmel can be their scoring machine. Like
yeah.
that's what this kind of looks like,
And I
and
think that comes from Barry Trotz being their GM.
100%.
Yeah, he's
He's an
very
old
old
school
school.
guy.
Yeah, and that doesn't work in
Yeah,
today's
and
hockey. Today's hockey is fast.
no,
They
and
will outplay you.
yeah. Well, and UC Saros, like you said, UC Saros is a small goalie, but he is stupid athletic, and
Yeah,
he is very good for his, not for his size. He's very good, period. But especially for how small he is for a goalie. And this year he's what 2-0-1 with a 1.64 and a 9.47. Like he's playing lights out, and
yeah,
that's what you have to have from him with this team. And I say with this team, but if all of those guys can stop being individual pieces and they can figure out how to play. Yeah, they're old. Yeah, they're a little bit slower, but those are some very skilled veteran players that know how to win. Like
yeah.
Holla, Marcia Show, Yossi, Forsberg, O'Reilly, Stamkos, Shea. Like they've all been in the playoffs, made deep runs, and some of them won several cups. So like they have everything there. I just think they're a little past their prime.
Yep, 100%, 100%. That's an old team. You had guys and hoped you could get a little more juice out of them, and it just did not happen last year. Maybe they start off hot, but it just it does not continue in my eye.
Yeah. Yep. I hope it doesn't. Being
Yeah,
someone in the
it makes
Central,
their division even harder. You don't have that.
yeah, but it makes you a little nervous if they can figure it out.
Yeah,
Everyone else is kind of just sitting in that middle. There's a lot of 1-2, a lot of 2-1 teams, so nothing like too crazy.
yeah.
I mean, Colorado's put up 13 goals in 4 games, and
They look
they've
good.
got the two leading scorers in the NHL right now with. Marty Nakash and uh, McKinnon. They both got 8 points, and they both look electric. McKinnon's flying around. Natchez is just lighting the lamp. He looks good, but I'm worried about him. It doesn't seem like he wants to stay there.
I don't think he's going to
Um,
stay there. I don't think he ever
yeah,
wanted to leave
so
Carolina.
I don't think he did either. I think he's still ticked off.
Yeah,
Um, but if he puts up a 100-point season and it's like, hey, maybe it's kind of fun playing with
McKinnon.
McKinnon. Maybe I'll stick around. But yeah, I think he wants to get paid. I think that's first and foremost. I don't think he necessarily cares where he goes if they're going to pay him, and I don't think Colorado can afford him.
No, not if they want to
So
keep the car. I think he has an extension coming either this year.
yeah, you can't. McCarr has to stay.
Yeah.
Priority 1, 2, and 3 since McKinnon signed
Yep.
for a few more years, and that's the best contract in hockey right now.
Oh, yeah.
I think he signed like a $6.5 million deal or something stupid a few years back,
I think it was
and
only
it
like
ticked me off.
11 million or
Maybe he just got a new one. When did he sign this one? Oh, he signed a new one in 22.
okay.
8 year, 100 million, so 12.6.
Yeah.
Before that, he signed like a 5 year, $6.5 million contract, and it
Yeah.
ticked me off so much. Like that's not fair. But yeah, again, they're very good. They're going to score a lot of goals. How's the goaltending look? Um, so far, sketchy, but bend don't break. It seems like is the strategy there.
I
Um,
think I saw them. Didn't they just send Mackenzie Blackwood to the AHL?
yeah, and Scott Wedgwood looks awesome right
Yeah.
now. Actually, it's 3-0-1, 172, 935.
Yeah.
Like he's been good, which I don't expect that to hold up.
Yeah.
I expect the Scott Wedgwood of the New Jersey Devils to peek through and
Yeah.
shine bright for that team. So I hope. Um, what else? Am I missing anything? Anything else that stood out to you this week that we missed?
Well, I can speak biasly
We
here. The
okay.
first
Let's.
game of the Blues season scared me a little bit. We played well, but we didn't
Oh,
score a
for
goal.
sure.
But we
You
looked
couldn't
good
have
the
worse
next two.
puck luck.
Yeah, we looked good, but we just could not score. And Bennington did not have a good game.
No, he did not.
But
Yeah,
came back
we'll
out
do a
against the
quick Blues
Canucks. No, was
for
that
you
Hofer
all.
against the Canucks? No, Bennington was in against the
Uh,
Canucks.
Bennington was the Canucks,
Yeah.
and Hofer was in Calgary.
Yep.
Hofer looked
He looked amazing,
outstanding,
especially in that second period.
outstanding. Yeah, he kept us in that game, and then third period we kind of took over.
Yep.
And then I was very pleased with the Vancouver game. We were
Oh yeah.
dominant from
We
beginning to
looked good.
end. So, um, good signs. Started out a little rough. I was also very concerned. A little bit better the second game. Third game looked great.
Third game
Um,
really good.
my biggest positive is even if Bennington struggles, we know Joel Hofer's a very
Very good
competent backup,
backup. Yeah.
and honestly should be starting somewhere. So
Hopefully one day for the Blues. Hopefully
yeah,
we don't do what we did all 2010s and just get rid of goalies.
no, we're not allowed to. What's Bennington got? 2 more years?
Yep.
One more year
I
after
think
this year?
yeah, I think it's 1 year after this one.
Yeah, you've got Hofer signed for a couple of years, so we're fine. I think Hofer's this year and next year also. They should end at the same time, and
Yeah.
they'll make a deal. I'm still mad we lost Colton Ellis. I thought that was the backup of the future
I like
to be the one B with
yeah.
Hofer. So that sucked.
I do like
But
Zerhenko or however you say his name. Who's
Zarenko,
yeah,
yeah, Vadim.
yeah. He's a little inconsistent, but that
I
happens.
was gonna say
He's
I was
still
gonna
got
say
more
he
time.
looked really good a couple years ago, and then he kind of got real inconsistent, and then Ellis took over and looked dominant
Yeah,
last year. So I was real excited, and so screw Buffalo again,
yeah.
um, taking him. They had 4 goalies on their active roster when they picked him up. I'm like, what are we doing? Buffalo being Buffalo. Well, if there's nothing else, we're gonna have a quick episode today.
Yep.
It's the first week, not a lot of craziness. We got the big deals out of the way. We've escaped with only one big injury, and a little history was made, not in a good way. So,
Yep.
for those of you hanging around with us, we appreciate it. Thank you. Let us know what you thought of that first week, how you felt about those deals. We had Lane Hudson, Jack Eichel, and Kyle Connor. Do you think they were good? How you feel about the length, the term? um, and how you feel about the overall week. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. I'm Cody. That's Julian. We'll see you next time.